dementia research is to double by 2025, and he says the goal of finding a treatment for the disease by that time is within our grasp. And an investigation started in South Africa over claims the man giving sign language at Nelson Mandela's memorial ceremony yesterday was making it up as he went along. The weather dry but cold tonight, some more fog in areas, lows of 4 degrees. It's 6 degrees right now at Tower Bridge. LBC 97.3, the trouble's next.
Half an inch of snow fell over the UK last night, putting the country in a state of emergency. In Sweden, 2 feet of snow has fallen. Reports are everyone is fine.
Snow doesn't stop Sweden. In an all-wheel drive Volvo XC60, it won't stop you either. The Volvo XC60 all-wheel drive from $397 per month, including winter pack, 3-year servicing, maintenance, and Volvo roadside assistance.
Volvo personal contract hire subject to terms and conditions. Initial payment of 2382 followed by 35 monthly rentals.
Well, it's a right peace scene when I drove home last night on the M25. I gather things aren't a lot better now. Louise Knight has one.
Yes, thank you, Ian. Really foggy, particularly bad over to the west of town. Just looking on cameras at the M25 on that western stretch. Clockwise got reports of an accident about a mile after junction 16 for the M40, but to be honest, visibility on the cameras is so bad because of the fog. I can't see brake lights, I can't actually see the accident itself. Just going down to the Surrey stretch, looking at the camera at junction 11, literally cannot see anything apart from a few brake lights. So please take it easy over on that western stretch. Over on the eastern stretch, on the Kent section, not looking too bad for the fog. However, anti-clockwise queues from Swally and 3 up towards the Dartford Tunnel, as usual delays made worse by a much earlier accident. The A3 is partly blocked south of Coombe Lane. There's an accident there that's causing queue to the right of the roundabout. A13 out town with a cross barrier 8 town flyover to the Lodge Avenue flyover. Although the fog has lifted, as I say, to the east of town. The Woolwich Ferry was suspended pretty much all day, but it is running again now. And just here in the centre of town, Fleet Street is partly blocked outside the Royal Courts of Justice, and that's due to a large demonstration. For the underground, there's a good service on the central line for the flight, still seeing some delays at Heathrow and City airports, and that's caused by the fog. Keeping London moving, your next travel updates in 15 minutes.
Some people's smiles light up a room, and yours could too. If you lack the confidence to smile, find it hard to enjoy your food or been told you can't have implants, talk to a TDC implant center. A full set of implant teeth in 1 day, or a single tooth in just 1 hour, and you avoid much of the discomfort associated with traditional implants. So to eat what you want and laugh when you want, call TDC Implant Centers on 0800 012 2086 or see smileinaday.co.uk.
The big red building on Golders Green Road.
The big pre-Christmas sale is now on at the Big Red Building in Golders Green Road. Beautifully tailored men's suits from only $79.95, plus big reductions on dinner suits, cashmere and wool overcoats, jackets and trousers. At Gold's Factory Outlet, 110 to 114 Golders Green Road. Open all week Sunday to Thursday 10 to 6, half day Friday, closed Saturday. Open Christmas Day, Boxing Day and Bank Holiday.
The big red building on Golders Green Road.
Dashing through great shows, we've won on every night. Banish all your woes, Christmas on Gold looks right. All our sitcom stars, enjoying Yuletide cheer. You'll laugh so hard your mouth line may just come out of your ear. Laughs on Gold, new and old, every night at 10. We'll do it every evening, then we'll do it all again. Funny folks just telling jokes, so come in from the cold. There's nothing in the world quite like a Christmas spent with gold. Festive specials on Gold, every night at 10. LBC 7.3, Ian Dale, Management.
20 past 4 here at LBC 97.3. We're talking about community sentences, asking do they work, because the government wants to get tougher on sentencing. They are going to instruct magistrates and judges that all sentences must have a punitive element, either a fine or people have to do unpaid work. And that can be obviously in addition to a community sentence. Do you think that's the right approach? Is it a sign that the government is getting tougher? Or do you think actually community sentences are quite good enough? Maybe you served a community sentence. Let me hear how it was for you. Was it appropriate? Do you think actually you got off rather lightly? 0845 6060 973. Patrick is in Corston. Hi Patrick.
Good afternoon, Ian. Ian, sometimes I'm amazed at the overt liberalism and political correctness of some individuals who don't understand what punitive should mean. I applaud what Chris Grady is doing currently because he's taken a real life view of criminality. He's taken Sky Television and PlayStations out of prison because they don't belong in prison. Punitive means that there has to be an element of punishment involved in what you're doing. If you're a drug dealer and you've earned hundreds of pounds peddling your drug, if you get £1,000 fine, ask yourself, how long does it take for a drug dealer to make £1,000? They are able.
I don't think anybody's suggesting that drug dealers should go to prison.
Agree, but if there's a punitive element to their sentence, that punitive element may be a fine. It's not a real life. It's not a real life punishment. A real life punishment would be make them break rocks, make them do something that would serve the community, something that isn't glamorous, something that when they come out of prison they can't brag about. At the moment, you go into jail, you get free food, you get a free gym membership. If you want to engage in programs, it's a choice. You don't have to engage in programs. There is literally a low punitive element to going to jail apart from the restriction of liberty.
Let me play devil's advocate, and you're going to say that I'm being a wishy-washy liberal. It's not necessarily my view, but I think the counter to that is that the punitive element is that you've lost your freedom. That is the punishment.
Yeah, restriction of liberty.
Yeah.
Restriction of liberty. Restriction of liberty is all well and good, but when you are under the exact same conditions of what you would be as if you were in a boarding house as a child, it doesn't seem as if you're taking anything away from somebody. When I was listening to your show during the course of the week, and you described the situation where you were burgled, and you also described the effect that it had on you. Now, how you felt about these individuals who invaded your privacy and stole from you, I know that any right-thinking individual would think, right, I want those individuals task, and I don't only want them to lose their liberty, but I want them to understand the damage that they have done to me. And I don't believe that message is conveyed to offenders, and I don't feel that offenders
yes and no. I do think this sort of restorative justice idea is quite a good thing where victims confront the people that have burgled them or mugged them or whatever, because I know people that have done this and they think that it has had a real effect on the person actually confronting the person that they've... we had a lady on a few weeks ago, I don't know if you were listening, who had confronted a burglar in her house at night and actually sat him down. She was actually a professional mediator, so she's probably in quite a good position to do it. So she sat him down and had a chat with him while the police came, and then once they'd arrested him and he was in court, she had another meeting with him, and she was convinced that the fact that he then understood the effect that it had on her, she was convinced that he wouldn't do it again.
I listened to the show, and I think it was the same show that we're talking about, and it suggested that I can give you an example of something that happened to me. I was conned out of £200 by somebody that, as far as I'm concerned, had empathy for the simple fact that I took a picture. Basically, I got his telephone, and when I confronted him that day, I realised that he told me, he basically just ridiculed me. So, if you're a hardened criminal, you're not going to be empathic because that is your chosen course of lifestyle. Now, as I say, it is glamorized by the individuals that go into jail because it's just a strike on the shoulder. But if you are a drug dealer and you're close and people within your community see you walking down the street picking up rubbish or dog eating, that is a very glamorous picture to paint within the community.
This is very true. Andrew, we have to leave it there because I've got to guess I want to go on a really important point. You may provoked a lot of people into calling in, so well done you. Thank you very much indeed. Mark Day is Head of Policy at the Prison Reform Trust and joins us now. Mark, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Now, you were listening to what Patrick had to say there. His view, I think, is probably commonly shared by many people listening to this programme. Is he right?
Well, I think it's important to say that the punitive element of any sentence, whether that's a prison sentence or a community order, is that there's an element of compulsion about it, and the person has to, by the order of the court, take part in whatever activity the court has prescribed, and the court will prescribe a sentence according to the facts put before them and the individual case. And I suppose the worry about the announcement that the government has made today is that this need to impose a punitive element will be mandatory, so it means that every single case coming before the court that requires a community community order, there will have to be a mandatory punitive element as part of the sentence. Now, the judge may not consider it to be appropriate. For instance, if they're faced with someone who clearly has a very serious drug addiction, it is drugs which is driving them to commit their offence, it may not be appropriate in that instance to impose a punitive element such as a curfew or unpaid work on that person, because it may not be in the consideration of the judge it's going to be effective at reducing their reoffending. I think it's important to say that community sentences are already now outperforming short prison sentences by around 7% in terms of reducing rates of reoffending, and I think it would be a great shame if instead of building on this success, there's a misplaced sense that we need to make community sentences more punitive. On the other hand, the announcement on restorative justice, we very much welcome the government's recognition that this can be both demanding and effective on offenders and reducing their reoffending. We did our own polling after the riots in 2011, which showed incredibly widespread support amongst the public for this approach. Around 71% of people thought victims should be able to have a say in how the offender can best make amends for the harm they've done. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, really. On one hand, we very much welcome the announcement on restorative justice, but there are some dangers, I think, with making community sentences automatically punitive regardless of the offence and the type of offender before the court.
But you see, a lot of people listening will say if somebody has committed a crime, they have to be punished. Now, obviously a community sentence is a form of punishment, but often they're much more geared towards rehabilitation than punishment. What's so wrong in saying that everybody who is found guilty of an offence has to have some sort of financial fine or unpaid work?
I'm afraid what the government has done is rather to confuse the situation around what is punitive and what isn't. Any sentence imposed by a court is punitive to given the fact that the offender is compelled to take part in whatever activity the court prescribes. But in our view, it really has to be up to the courts to decide what activity that offender should be taking part in order to reduce their reoffending, and obviously for the offender to make amends for the harm they have done. It's a bit confusing that on the one hand, in the offender rehabilitation bill, which is currently before Parliament, the government is making moves to actually create more flexibility for courts to determine what is part of a rehabilitative order passed by the courts to free up providers to decide what is best for the offender. But at the same time, they're saying that the court has to